While you are sitting there in the jury pool, listening to the judge describe this case to you, Donald Trump is sitting at the defense table looking like this. Let's take that back down to a half screen of Donald Trump. As you consider yourself sitting there on Monday in the position of a juror looking at him, let's look at what they will actually see without hearing a word from Donald Trump. The truth of what he looks like with that stuff that he slaps on his face.
I mean, damn.
No matter how many days those jurors spend in that room with Donald Trump, they will never come to understand why he chooses to look like that.
Damn, not just because it is brutal, but damn because if there's anything that will have the Mar-a-Lago walls lathered with ketchup, it is this. Keeping his mug frozen in this position for the entire segment while artfully shredding him to pieces is a choice. 2024 Lawrence O'Donnell is not messing around.
Well, Orange Jesus is trying to knock me out of this job. Again.
Now, as we know, Donald Trump is many things, right? But perhaps there is nothing he is more than vain. And I have a sneaking suspicion that when Lawrence O'Donnell sat down to write out this segment, he knew that full well and decided to go full throttle.
Let's look at what they will actually see without hearing a word from Donald Trump. And for that, we're going to go back to the full screen so you can take in what this man actually looks like now. Donald Trump is likely to be sitting there, as he is in this recent campaign videos. That's a picture of him when he's trying to look his absolute best in his campaign video, which in his mind includes a face partially covered in some form of homemade bronzer in which he always forgets the ears. He always forgets his ears are visible, showing the real color of Donald Trump in contrast to the mud brown that he has decided makes him look his best, and to some eyes actually makes him look like a horror movie character. That is not a face you want to present to a criminal jury whose job it is to concentrate on the evidence in the case. Those jurors will be listening to Judge Merchan's questions while having trouble fighting the urge to steal another peek at that profoundly strange-looking man sitting at the defense table, whose voice they will probably never hear in court.
Now, am I as afraid of his Bond villain-like appearance as I am his draconian outlook on reproductive rights, demonizing of migrants, and promise to re-implement his abhorrent Muslim ban? No. But when so much of the mainstream media's focus surrounds things like Biden's appearance and mental acuity.
President Biden is here on the world stage representing the American people. Poll after poll after poll find that the American people overwhelmingly worry he might be too old for a second term.
I am baffled that this man is passed off as the more physically fit and cognitively sound candidate. It's as if they've taken his golf scorecard as evidence for his current state, when we all know that in itself is subject to scrutiny.
How often do you play?
And I do it as a form of exercise. I play 3-4 times a week. I run through the course. I run fast. I play well. I win club championships, which is sort of like our major. Our major is winning club championships. I just won the regular club championship.
As Lawrence O'Donnell reiterates, this isn't just the look of a man America has a choice on whether or not to vote for come November, but jurors will decide whether or not he's guilty.
That is not a face you want to present to a criminal jury whose job it is to concentrate on the evidence in the case. Those jurors will be listening to Judge Merchan's questions while having trouble fighting the urge to steal another peek at that profoundly strange-looking man sitting at the defense table, whose voice they will probably never hear in court. Because it is impossible, as Donald Trump and his lawyers know, for Donald Trump to testify under oath without committing perjury. perjury that he will not get away with. And Donald Trump will not be able to testify under oath and get away with trying to lie about what actually happened when he was alone in his hotel room with Stormy Daniels, who will testify under oath about what happened in that room. Donald Trump will not be able to get on the witness stand and successfully lie about his communications and conversations with Michael Cohen about paying off Stormy Daniels so that his presidential campaign could survive. And Michael Cohen will testify about that. And so with Donald Trump unable to testify in his own defense, the only thing he brings to his defense is that silent, discolored face. A face that lies to you without Donald Trump saying a word. A face that claims to be a color of brown that is betrayed by his 77-year-old pink ears. A face that is topped by hair, that is lying to you about exactly where Donald Trump's hairline might actually be. Every day that the jurors spend in that courtroom with defendant Trump, they will be wondering how he can be so deeply oblivious to the truth of what he looks like, with that stuff that he slaps on his face. Some of them will be thinking correctly he can afford the best professional makeup, but this is what he chooses. They will be wondering about what other truths about himself is Donald Trump unable to admit. They will be wondering why he literally cannot look at himself in a mirror. That silent face will be the only way that Donald Trump, in effect, testifies to his first criminal jury. And what those jurors will see on that face every day in that courtroom is a lie. No matter how many days those jurors spend in that room with Donald Trump, they will never come to understand why he chooses to look like that.
If you're wondering how the former president is feeling as we head into the weekend before he stands trial, here's a mere peek into his posting habits on Truth Social. Very stable genius indeed, right? Well, if he hasn't already done so, if I were a betting man, I'd bet that he'll respond to this very segment soon. Because nothing gets a narcissist up in arms like surface level critiques on their appearance.
We now know, thanks to Liz Cheney's new book, which will be published next week, that Republicans in the House of Representatives refer to Donald Trump as Orange Jesus and follow his every command religiously, even when they know he's lying. We'll hear more about that directly from Liz Cheney next Monday night when she does her first primetime interview with Rachel Maddow on the network that Donald Trump now says he wants to shut down. The man who Republican members of Congress call Orange Jesus wants to shut down MSNBC. Last night at 11:13 p.m., 13 minutes after presumably watching this show, Donald Trump posted an attack, not just on me this time, which he's done many times in the past, but on this entire network, saying that the government should come down hard on MSNBC. And we know what Donald Trump means by come down hard. He means completely destroy. He means violently attack the way he wanted Trump supporters to come down hard on Congress on January 6th.
And please, before anyone does, spare me the faux pas on how this is beneath the belt. And remember the image-crazed misogynist we're discussing here.
You wouldn't have your job if you weren't beautiful. It's very sad.
It must be a pretty picture you drop into.
And
and I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face.
She's gotten a little bit large. I don't think you should dress like you weigh 120 pounds.
I don't want to sound too much like a chauvinist, but when I come home and dinner's not ready, I go through the roof.
A person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10.
She ate like a pig.
You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. The boob job is terrible. You know, they look like two light posts coming out of a body.
Is unattractive both inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her for a man.
Maybe she should feel that way.
There are a lot of women out there that, you know, demand that the husband act like the wife.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. She's really a beautiful baby. She's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
What happens if Marla gained this kind of weight? Would you drop her?
I'd say start working out.
I have no respect for her. I don't think she's very good. I would say she's in the 4 or 5 category. Right. I like the way she used to look. I don't like the way she looks now.
There are 2 other women now who claim that there'd been sexual harassment.
They probably do love their names splashed across the front pages. You say, oh, hello, darling, how are you? And you get sued because you've destroyed somebody's life. It's ridiculous.
You have a young woman that was in his room, his hotel room, late in the evening at her own will. You have a young woman who was seen dancing for the beauty contest, dancing with a big smile on her face.
Planned Parenthood should absolutely be defunded.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
Do you think she felt pressure to come back after 3 weeks?
I don't think so. I think she loves her job.
She wouldn't have felt a need to do that because you might have replaced her otherwise.
No. Although it's an interesting premise.
I have been better to women than any of these candidates, frankly.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.